I never know what will happen and what echoes will come from the drum, and what sounds will come from myself. In many ways, it's all about the rhythm. And the allowance. I've been thinking about magic a lot, about what magic is to me, and how my relationship with her has defined my life. For me, the magic and the relationship with her is not simply wishcrafting. It's not simply, I want this and therefore I'm going to try to get this, or I'm going to try to sculpt something with accumulated karmic impressions in order to pass the critical mass of mass for that to arrive. Yet is equally, if not more so, about divination into what the very substance of that sculpting is on about. It is a deep dive into the substance of the goddess in the context of awareness and form. Awareness, formless, form, everything that exists in the incarnate plane. Awareness, you can say God. Form, you can say goddess. In this context, form is not simply the masculine or the feminine. It's far more about awareness and awareness of form than it is. And from my vantage, the masculine and the feminine are shifting polarities that exist along a larger cycle, defined by the very thing that defines magic herself, which is awareness of form and our relationship to form. It is this awareness of form and our ethos, our relationship with what it means to be in form, to be on a mortal timeline, a very real timeline, where things are occurring on the scenes of our story and where we are having a relationship with what is happening on that melody line. It is a thing defined by awareness of form, of how much are we aware of form. What is our relationship to her? Do we see the shapes and the contours of her space-time? Do we witness the breath and the cycle of her movements as us, through us, as an extension of the forest? Are we even aware of that? Or is our mind and our body so distracted by the tremors of the current age that we cannot hear ourselves, our connection to the mother? I know I've forgotten. I know I've come into places of in the spin where the very nature of my awareness was distorted and confused, and where I needed to do clearing, and I'm still doing clearing, in order to be able to perceive the majesty of her. And when we talk about magic, so when I was a kid, I saw everyone as the gods, or at least as demigods. I saw them as there was a great series by Piers Anthony called Incarnations of Immortality, where these various characters would take on the mantle of death or time or war or god or goddess, or fate and all these things, but it was a job, right? So you would be in the job and they would have like a thing of office, and as long as they were in the job, they were like effectively immortal, but eventually, the job would end. There were various conditions to the various characters, and those characters were themselves part of a much larger story, which I loved because I love story so much. When we talk about awareness and form, ultimately we're talking about what is the substance of our story. And by understanding this, we actually can come to understand the nature of our magic. It's like magic is a relationship with form in awareness. Like, I've always striven to, how do I explain this? Magic is not simply, I want this and I'm going to do this process to get this. She is not simply, I'm going to delve into the layers of my subconscious and reprogram various things through a variety of kriyas and mantras in order to shift something. She is the deeper intelligence that permeates through that individual strand. She is the deeper Davic awareness that makes up the garden herself. The nature of this age and the nature of not realization is to imagine ourselves in separation from that larger majesty, yet the movement towards power, the movement towards sovereignty, the movement towards clarity, and the ability to channel the energies is from coming back into right relationship with her, with form, and our awareness of form. So, as I've been, really looking at, having designed the Mythica, I wish to give you the cartography of your story. I wish you to see the physics of your story, the underlying, very, very, very simple, but not obvious, grounded reality of your timeline and the events along the thread of your timeline that define your relationship with form. I wish you to see the grounded physics of that I have discovered in my devotion to story that has led me from one synchronicity to another in service to something greater than myself, to provide that alchemy of proof to remind us all that no matter the expression of ourself and its story, that our passage through the soil is what reveals the trajectory of our soul. And in understanding this trajectory, in aligning with one's heart's desire, this is something I love, right? In like fables and stuff like that, I will give you your heart's desire. They have to like deny it. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. It's great, right? But it's like, really, your heart's desire is the thing that is most aligned for you. It is the thing that sings through you, the thing that can only be seen when you clear the occlusions and distortions from your gaze. Now, this is super important to the way that I envision magic, the way I perceive magic, is that, there's words and there's philosophies and all these things, but there's really where the energy gathers in your ability to perceive the colors of the energy, the timbres of the energy, the tones. And to perceive those tones properly requires clarity. Without clarity, you cannot hear the colors of creation. Without discernment, you cannot tell the taste of purple from the song of wet, or the gesture of chartreuse, as it exists inside form. And as we move into the mystic arts, into the subtle layer of ourselves, my inquiry into this is how to explain the way that I experience her. So this is very sculptural, and sometimes people say, well, it's understanding the action in this is understanding it, so that when the action is to perceive this and to anchor your perception in this. The action is to drop in, feeling the texture of the sun, feeling the texture of the sky, feeling the texture of the earth. This means dropping in out of this into bringing the locus of your awareness. As I like to say, the locus of your focus is what gives you hocus pocus, and bringing it down into the earth where things actually happen. When we can do this, when we can feel the textures of things, and we can listen for them, and we have a certain degree of chromatic discernment, the very ambiance of that awareness, the very clarity of perception that we are training, is what gives us the ability to wield what you might call spells, but you can also call intentions or anything else that essentially produces like a shape in the ethers. And so if we want to say, I want this, we wish to perceive the colors that is made of. We wish to perceive what desire, what that is, what that push is. And this is a deep territory. You see, from my perspective of magic, the mortal condition during this age is primarily about clearing the occlusions, which means you can't see, right, from your gaze, such that the awareness of the divine light that is moving through the prism, like a stained glass prism in a cathedral, of your perspective, which is seeing the world through the substance of itself, may now be clear enough to appreciate the colors and textures that are already there. This is I always get this. Is it Michelangelo cutting away that which was not elephant in the clay? It might have been Raphael. I'm going to go with Michelangelo, but I might be wrong. The point is that in this artistry, what the artist said while sculpting away, stone is a subtractive medium. And when we cut away that which is not our true self, and this isn't directly a reference to the artist, I'm just talking about the nature of being mortal. When we cut away, or we dissolve, or we disentangle from that which is not our truest self, the powers and talents that are ours to bear come forward. We bloom like the flower through the dirt and the unconsciousness. We bloom into who we are, into the character that we are playing in the world. And the process of this revelation, the process of uncovering the treasure which lay within you, is something that happens along your quest, whereby you must learn to hone your senses, to be able to discern real from illusion. Both are made of the elements. Everything is made of the elements. How well can you perceive the elements? This is the doorway to magic. I'm here at the course, and I went and I did a bunch of physical things today, right? And the whole time I was in a reverence for Gaia. Gaia is the mother of the gods and goddesses, of course, right? For form, Gaia is form. And the powers and abilities that we have are part of form. They are what is our soul's resonance coming through to bring its offering to the world. Yet, to reach this point, to have access to your powers, is clearing. Why? It's the age. It's the nature of the age. That's what everyone has to do. I have to do it. It's what makes up the shadows on the quest. But as we clear through those things, we gain more access to those powers. We gain more access to the people, the places, and the events which reflect the more clarified version of ourselves. Not always. Not always. We get it. There's conflict. There's shadow. That's super real. But then there's the movement through those things. You know, and how that affects our power. So when I was on the course and I was feeling the energy of Gaia, I was also feeling the Akka, and in the Mythica, I'm saying Akka are like constellations of form that exist on the deep levels of things. That human beings and who we are collections of Akka. So if you are the archetype of this, or you are the human design of that, or you are the Chinese medicine of this, or you're the Ayurveda of that, the doshas of this, there is something to the sculpture of yourself that is made of the elements, and that those elements combine into chords of consciousness, chords of multiple tones, which then filter, are layered with cultures, and express themselves as the gods and the goddesses, yet are you. So when I am on the course and I call upon the energy of Heracles, or the Akka of Heracles, and the Akka of Nike, and the Akka of Gaia, there is a visceral sensation moving through me in the field of my awareness. That is my awareness of the 5 elements in the reverence towards Gaia, where I am dropping into the form. I'm bringing my awareness into this whilst feeling the energy of Hercules or whatever. What is the quality of like solid form? What gives strength? Because I have a Greco-Roman Norse mythos, so it's easy for me to draw strength from that. Or from Nike, as I understand her, the goddess of victory, moving forward, Gaia. And the feeling of this, the holding of this in the reverence, in the heart, gives access, which then shifts the subconscious patterns in a very visceral, physical way. Now, even though I use the costume of like, Heracles or blah, 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 that's an outer form. You could be calling on any tradition. These are the resonances that make up your story, and they are a deeper look into the form of the goddess that makes up you. Yet, the essence of it is that for me, magic starts with perception. It starts with the ability to tell one tone from another. It is in the ability to feel your body, to feel yourself, to feel your senses. It is in the depth of your awareness and the subtlety of your perception. It is through this ability to work with the medium herself that gives rise to the various manifestations. So in my case, my wish was to build something that could help people see the magical world, to help them see the nature of like what are the principles and expressions of the return to the garden. To get to that expression, to be of service in that way, was a journey of awareness, of clearing away that which was not me, such that the energies of the creation could even be properly felt and channeled through my form in a visceral way. A visceral way that in a relaxed way would then impresses and changes the subconscious, because the subconscious is made of the elements. So any act of magic is essentially a relationship, you are aligning with the sun, the moon, the elements, various archetypes, aka, from any culture. It doesn't matter. It's what's beneath cultures. And then you are allowing that to flow through your form, changing you, changing your identity, changing the shape, sculpting away that which is not the thing. Maintaining this is not easy. It takes real discipline and much, much, much easier to do on the land, because the nature of the world and the din that we're moving through is, and yet it is the way. It is the journey back to ourselves, the journey back to the land, and the journey into the Mythica. Thank you.